Baruch.
Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. V'ahavta et Adonai Eloheinu b'chol livavcha uv'chol nafshacha uv'chol Nodecha V'hayu Avrahim Ha'ale Asher Anochi Mitzvayecha Hayom Al Levavecha Vishinanta Levanecha Vidibarta Bam Beshivtecha Betechecha.
Why does God need us to do this?
Right.
I think He cares if we put this on or not. So really what it is, I try to explain to people, imagine you're sitting in Yankee Stadium and there's 30,000 people.
City Field, baby. I was going to say, you
sorry.
the camera.
Sorry, I was a Yankees fan when I was a kid, so that's how I always pictured it. I was a big Yankees fan. So you're sitting in there and there's 30,000 whatever people and you're a nobody. You know, there's the important players and you're just sitting in the stands.
Yeah.
And then, you know, Derek Jeter turns around and asks you, can you get me a drink of water? Like, how important did he just make you?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, everyone's like, you know, you have a story for life. I'm connected to him. He asked me to get him a drink. I got it for him. All of a sudden, I'm important. It's the same thing. God gives us commandments to give us a way to connect to Him. I asked you to do something. Now you did it for me. Now we're connected. There's something between us. So that's really what.
Hey, it's Harlan for Soul Free and the Donna Drake Show. We are in Brooklyn, Crown Heights, Bellissimo Hats, and we're going to look good after today's episode. Stay tuned. Soul Free with Harlan Freeman, your home for sneakers and culture, starts in 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go! All right, here we are, Bellissimo Hats. We're with the co-founder of Bellissimo Hats. We're with Levi Chayo. My brother, how you feeling today?
Feeling great. Thank you for coming. Thank you for visiting.
Of course. You know, let's just get right into it. 2017, I know you and your brother Yossi see a need in the market for beautiful fedoras. Talk to me about what made you jump in?
Well, we actually just came out of a previous business. We had a restaurant in California. Didn't quite work out. We were very young. It was the first venture. So we kind of moved home. I moved to Montreal, where my wife is from. My brother moved back here. And we were kind of like, that's it. We're getting 9-to-5 jobs. We're not cut out for this. It was way too stressful. It wasn't worth the work. And then, a couple months later, I send them a text and I'm like, hey, I found this really cool hat factory. And, we grew up wearing hats our whole life. Prices were going up, the quality was getting worse. I'm like, I think we could do it better. I'll make them, you sell them. And he's like, oh man, not again. Anyway, I convinced him to get back into it. We actually started just with a couple samples, selling custom hats to people, which is something that no one did over here. Everyone wanted to try them on. And we are convincing them to make it as if you would make a custom suit. Choose the crown, choose the ribbon, choose the lining. And it was something new, and thank God my brother's a really good salesman. He was really able to, get it off the ground. And we slowly built up like that as a side gig. We both had 9-to-5 jobs. But then I started messing around the factory with different colors and different styles and posting it online. And we actually started getting some interest from the online community outside of our small Hasidic, base that we had here. And then, after that, it just blew up.
Yeah, so and that's the thing that really drew me to your story is the fact you went from the Hasidic community, rabbis and religious folk, and now who wears your hats? Jamie Foxx, Cedric the Entertainer, Snoop Dogg, Dave Portnoy, the who's who of Hollywood and entertainment. Has anybody ever gotten both sides of the pie like you guys are doing right now? This is incredible.
So I think
love the story.
I think it's not really two different, aspects. I think they complement each other.
Absolutely.
Hats are definitely making a comeback in the world. I'm seeing. In the beginning, I thought it's just because I'm in the business.
Yeah.
But now that I see new companies making manufacturing equipment for hats, that tells me, okay, it's really coming back.
Yeah.
There's a lot of new companies, targeting different demographics. Some for women, some for men, some for older guys, younger. And what I'm seeing is that a lot of the people, even making the hats right now, they don't know what quality means.
Yeah.
And I think because we come from a Hasidic background, that we've been wearing these hats since back when everyone was wearing these hats. When, before JFK got up without a hat and kind of ruined it, everybody was wearing hats then.
Yeah.
And quality was very important. People had their hats for 20 years. And now I see people coming out and they're selling these $500, $700 hats made out of wool that are not going to last you one rain. And I think people just don't know. And because we never stopped wearing these hats, we kind of had to pass down of what's good quality. So even as a 13, 14-year-old kid, I could go and put on a fedora and be like, oh, this feels like cardboard. This is not nice.
Yeah.
So we kind of have that we understand the quality. And then we also have, the new renaissance of hats with these new cool modern styles. So we kind of have both of those. And I think that's a very important, complementing. A lot of our customers shop at a lot of different companies, and once they get our hats, they're like, oh, okay, now I get the difference. Now I know why they're bragging about the rabbit felt, and they're bragging about the quality. It's a whole different animal.
Yeah, no, it's definitely top of the line. Your story just goes deep. I love the fact you and your brother are in the restaurant business. You say, you know what? Now the restaurant business is the craziest business in the world.
Yeah.
You say, we're going to take a break from this. Let's go 9 to 5. You're not a 9 to 5 guy, are you?
No, we tried. It wasn't working out. It was not. I cannot work for someone in a 9 to 5 job. I really tried. It didn't work out.
And what you've done in the hat game, it's incredible. I mean, the colorways. I'm just looking at this one with the powder blue and the beige, just bringing these incredible colors and fabrics together. Did you always have that creative side to you?
So I think it comes naturally from my mother. She's super creative.
Yeah.
She's a hairdresser. She used to design Macy's windows, before she had kids, and she kind of had to work a little more from home. But I think it is something that comes naturally because, I design these hats.
Yeah.
People are always shocked when they find out how many people we have working in this company because we do the design, we do everything, A to Z pretty much.
Love it.
Yeah.
So obviously mom was a big inspiration to you and your brother as far as, taking this from ground zero up to where it is now.
Yeah, both creatively and entrepreneurial. My mother, raising 9 kids.
Yeah.
While she had dinner on the stove, she was, doing a bride's hair and her whole family. My mother was working like crazy, and we kind of got our work ethic from her. She would work late nights, wake up early, and we really got both the entrepreneurial and the design part from her. So my father actually is a rabbi.
Okay.
Right when my mother and father got married here in New York, he's from Argentina, she's from France. They didn't have any parents here, didn't have any help. My father went to get a job, and both my parents sat down and said, you're wasting your time. You're not meant to be working, you're meant to be helping people and be in the spiritual, and that's really where his heart was. So together they made that decision that my mother would do a lot more of the pulling, with the financially, and they trust in God, and my father went on to inspire people.
I love it. You know, part of your life growing up is so traditional, and the other part is so creative. This you don't see this story every day. This is special.
Yeah, well, it's really not a contradiction.
Yeah.
You know, the traditions, it's really the traditions that brought us here. Like if you look at all the different Hasidic people in Williamsburg and Borough Park, the different hats we wear is because of the communities we came from.
Yeah.
And actually, our sect of Hasidism that we come from, we normally would have been wearing the big furry ones on the Sabbath. The reason we wear the fedora is because of our Rebbe, the 7th Rebbe. He was considered modern, or the Rebbe of the people, and when he decided that he's going to wear the fedora, even on Saturdays, even on holidays, and people are like, "Ooh, that's a little edgy for a rabbi back then." And I'm very thankful to him. Now we get to wear these cool fedoras, and it's really part of the tradition that brings us to the whole hat thing.
Plus, we're two friends talking right now. The big fur hat, the big round grand hat, it's got to be hot in the summer.
Yeah, but I think they're really cool. When you actually get to appreciate hats and appreciate, I mean, some of those, they're thousands of dollars, and
they're insane.
They're really nice if you think about it. But it's a different style.
Yeah. What are the gifts? Obviously, you received a lot of gifts from your father and your mother. Your mother just sounds like a remarkable person. What are the gifts? I know you have kids of your own now. What are the gifts that you received from your parents that you're passing on to your children now?
I think just having a loving home and parents who love you and believe in you and don't try to force you in any way and just like let you do your thing, but you have that foundation to lean back on. And it's just believe in yourself, and whatever you want to do, you could do.
Love that.
My favorite rapper is Eminem. I mean, obviously,
Okay. So Marshall Mathers walks into the store right now, either this location or the one in Montreal that I know you run up in Montreal. Marshall Mathers walks in and he's like, "Yo, I need a hat. Can you walk me through the process how you would greet Marshall in the store?"
Well, we know he likes yellow. I don't know why.
Okay.
I think of him, I think of yellow, either bandanas or whatever he wears. Definitely find his size.
Okay.
Some people say I'm not a hat guy.
Yeah.
That's not a thing. We turn you into a hat guy.
Absolutely.
You just got to find the right hat.
They just don't know it yet.
Exactly.
They don't know it yet.
And that's really what's special about our stores.
Yeah.
Most hat stores you go into, they're very cluttered because hats take up space. They're very cluttered, and you're just trying on hats and you're getting confused. It's like when you shop for glasses. You don't know anymore what you're seeing, if it looks good or if it doesn't. We simplify it. We made it very simple. Each hat is on a pedestal. Each hat is something special. We kind of hide all the inventory so we could get your size and all that. But once we find out your size, we take out the different styles we try on. We try to find out brim width, crown height, what looks good.
Yeah.
And once we do find that good combination, then we work on the colors, because that's easy. We can make any hat in any color. We have this advantage over our competition where we're so flexible and we could customize anything. So this hockey player from Montreal, from Montreal Canadiens, Cole Caulfield, he came in, he was a brand new player. They had high hopes for him. Now he's one of their best players. So he came in and he bought a hat, and I was looking at him, he was wearing it with the brim up, and I'm like, okay, it looks good, but I'm like, let me actually tell him, maybe he doesn't know that the brim snaps down. So I'm like, if you're chilled, you're wearing jeans, whatever, you can wear it like that. But if you're serious, doing something serious, taking a serious picture, whatever, I'm like, put the brim down. And I showed him, he's like, oh, okay. A little bit later that season, they were in the Stanley Cup, and there was a video of him walking into the game that they posted. The Habs posted it on Twitter, and he's wearing the brim down with his suit, and he looked so good, and everyone was like, "Wow, he means business! Look at him!" And I was like, "Thank God I told him to put the brim down," and I gave him that whole explanation.
I love it. So talk to me about the hat I have on today.
So this is a two-tone. Two tones is something pretty unique to us. We actually have to make two hats, and then cut it in half, and then put the two parts together.
Okay.
We took two of our best colors that we see people love. The camel was our number one hat, and then the powder blue people loved, and we just put it together and with the royal blue ribbon, and it just works. And we've had this for a few years now, and like most of our styles, actually, someone just reached out to us, one of our good customers, said, "Hey, could you do this and that?" And like a lot of our new styles come about that way, where we make something for a customer, post it on Instagram, we see that there's people like it, and then we offer it, and we're like, oh, this one's so a lot of the stuff I come up with myself, but a lot of the stuff it's actually customers reaching out to me and saying, I have this suit, what can you help me with? And I'm wearing it with these shoes, and I'm like, oh, we could do this, we could do that. So it's pretty unique, and now it's one of our staples. People love this. This is the Duke. It's a teardrop crown. It's a medium width brim, pretty much good for anybody. Not too wide, not too small. So anyone could get away with this, no matter your face shape. And it's just very good first hat.
Right. Montreal and New York.
Okay.
All right. I know you go back and forth.
Yeah.
And, when your brother Yossi's holding it down here, you're up in Montreal.
Yeah.
So, all right, Montreal or New York? Pizza.
New York,
All right. Bagels.
Montreal.
Ooh, dude, why are Montreal bagels so good?
They're dense, they're
Yeah.
sweet, and they're just better.
All right.
They're
Hockey.
chewy.
Hockey.
Well, I've been to a lot more games. I wasn't a hockey fan till I got the
Yeah.
whole Montreal Canadiens team,
Right.
and I went to a million games, so I have to say Montreal because,
Sneaker game. What do you think? New York or Montreal?
I'd have to say New York because we wear boots for like 6 months out of the year over there.
Cold up there sometimes, yeah?
Oh yeah, cold and very snowy.
All right, before we wrap it up today, talk to me. I know you have an incredible online business. Hit us with your Instagram. Talk to us about your online experience and how we get in touch with you.
Yeah, so one of the main things we've been wanting to do from the beginning, yes, we have physical locations, but we really wanted to bring it online. And obviously, it's hard to shop for something online that you want to try on. So we kind of make that easier. We have a sizing tool on our website that you can measure your head with. We have a virtual try-on. After you design your own hat in our 3D studio, you could try it on your head just to get an idea of what it looks like. And that's where most of our business is. We ship a lot to Atlanta, to Texas, to California. So yes, we have physical location. We love to see you here. Come try on your first hat, but online is where it's at. And free exchanges. If the hat doesn't fit, we exchange it for the right size. We want everyone to be happy. And you could check us out on Instagram, bellissimohats.com. Bellissimo Hats on Instagram, 2 L's, 2 S's. It's Italian for beautiful. Yeah, that's it.
All right, so, check me out. I'm going to be here a lot with his brother Yossi. So, Snoop, if you're out there, I'll meet you here. We'll do some leisurely activities, and then we'll come hat shopping. And we'll see you real soon.
Sometimes when we're hurt, we need to call in expert help. This guy is the guy to call. Joining us now is Ramy, and we're going to be talking about personal injury and law. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Thanks for having me.
We've been talking for a few months now. It's nice to have you here in person.
Thank you.
Why did you decide to go into this type of law?
Well, initially, I realized a lot of our clients did not really understand the laws surrounding this area of law. Many of our community members. So I decided to dig right into it, know more about it, and practice this specific type of law. And as people started to come into our office and I started to explain the process, obviously that was life-changing for them.
Everything has to be documented as well, right?
Absolutely,
You
absolutely.
Go, right, so from the moment that we have an injury of some sort, and we realize that perhaps we didn't have the right insurances in place that protect us the way that it needs to be, that we need to be protected, then they can call someone like yourself as an attorney, and you're going to help them. But from the very moment that we're injured, we should be documenting everything.
Absolutely. So when God forbid a tragedy happens, you make sure you document everything, take photos of the accident scene, call any law enforcement, get checked by a medical provider. And also one of the steps people can take is actually more preventive. So one of the things they can do is look at their insurance policies, what they have at home. Let's say you have Geico or State Farm in your household. It's always good to review your policy, see the types of protections that are given to you, and see if there is a way to protect yourself and raise these protections so that you can protect yourself and others in the future. And I always say the best way to protect yourself is to invest in your insurance policies.
Really? Mm-hmm. I did not realize that. Okay. So, well, first, be good physically fit, right? And,
absolutely.
Right, take care of yourself. But also, if something does happen, like my friend fell at the train station. She had to have a rod put in her leg. By the time you get to be my age, a lot of people, things have happened, unexplained injuries, and all of a sudden you're like, wow, and they could be very, very hurt for a long time.
Absolutely. So one of, like you just mentioned this story, for example, and that's a topic that happens a lot with people.
False.
And that's where we say document everything. So you fell, a lot of people, what they do is they'll walk away, they'll say, oh, it'll be fine. And then they go home and the pain is getting worse. They end up going to the hospital and they end up with something major like that. Now, if I get trip and fall at a station like this and I keep walking, how can I document that evidence that I fell there? If I didn't just stay there, take photographs, take information of witnesses that saw me fall, take pictures of the defect itself, so that when I later try to make a claim, I can actually prove that I fell there. Because as a plaintiff's lawyer, it is our job to prove the case, not their job. So I can't, for example, go and say, well, I fell here 2 months ago. Really? We didn't even know if you were there, right? There's zero documentation.
Part of it is because when you're getting hurt, your adrenaline kicks in, right?
Exactly.
And you don't even know that you're hurt, and you're also maybe embarrassed.
And you're busy.
Right, and you're busy because you're on your way usually somewhere.
You gotta
right?
get somewhere.
That's right. So that's the time where you need to stop, pause, and breathe, right?
Breathe,
so if you
take a
feel,
moment.
if something happens, stop, pause, breathe, take a moment, and document something. If you don't need it, if you walk away, you're totally fine, no big deal.
Absolutely,
But
correct.
if you need it, it's there.
And it's always good if you have like a family member who's an attorney, just have their cell phone number, call them if you have something, if you have a question. Even if they say, well, there's nothing there, or don't worry about it, keep going, or they'll maybe give you advice as you're, on the scene itself.
What's one interesting case that you helped somebody get a good result from?
Well, one interesting case, a lot of the cases we have is a lot of typical motor vehicle accidents or trip or falls, but there are obviously a couple of ones that are just strange the facts are just very uncommon.
Okay.
And one of them we have at the firm is there was a pumpkin festival in Delaware. So what happens at this festival is they put a pumpkin in a cannon, and the cannon shoots the pumpkin, and obviously there's a competition, whatever the highest pumpkin there is. Unfortunately, as one of the pumpkins was shot up, the apparatus itself, it's almost like a car door, it's a metal piece, flew in the sky and landed on our client's head. Our client was a photographer. She was documenting the event.
Right.
She was looking away, and suddenly she got hit in the head with this massive metal piece that almost
Wasn't
landed
supposed
from
to
the
be
sky.
flying, just a pumpkin, right?
Yeah, and there was a brain injury, obviously,
Sorry.
unfortunately. The other interesting case we have is I've had a client who walked in and said, I touched a fish at a fish market, and I got poked in my finger. And later I started getting fevers, and my hand got infected, and I ended up with like 4 surgeries.
Oh my goodness.
And when they walked in on the first day, I said, this is just unbelievable. I honestly don't see this happening. I don't really see the connection between touching a fish and getting poked and this massive injury that you have. So go home, get me some documentation to show me. And a week later, she walks in, and it's papers from the hospital saying, got infected from a fish poke. And, these are the infections that spread through her arm, and she ended up with a surgery. So,
My goodness.
you always just get interesting,
Interesting
facts,
cases.
fact patterns that you deal with,
Absolutely. Well, it's good to know that there's someone like you that's researching, that's
Yes,
being
absolutely.
an advocate for people that are injured.
Absolutely,
So I
absolutely.
thank you for joining us today.
Thank you
If
so
somebody
much.
wants to go into your line of work, what advice would you give someone, a young law student? What would you tell them?
To get experience.
Okay.
So what I notice a lot is that young lawyers would go start on their own on day one, because I don't know why, it's just... but it's always great to get experience. Like when I started, I worked with somebody who was doing it for 20 years, right? He took me under his arm, and I started working with him, and I learned a lot. There's a lot of nuance that you cannot learn in law school. You cannot learn on the books. You have to actually do it. And I admire people who want to start their own projects, but at the same time, there is a lot of nuance that you have to first get exposure, learn, and then a couple of years later, when you feel like you're prepared, at least for the most part, then you could embark on your career.
Doing a better job then for that client.
Than just going in on day one and trying to figure out for every case, and you're taking a risk with people's cases, where
Right.
you miss a deadline, or you don't know how to file this, delaying the case, or even getting it dismissed because you didn't know that specific nuance,
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yay, Ramy.
Yay.
Thank you, Ramy.
Thanks,
Appreciate
guys.
you.
Thank you.
Be well. We hope that you enjoyed this segment. We hope that you're not injured, but if you or someone you know does become injured, please take these steps to protect yourself. Be well. It's important to remember what we eat, but also what we put on our skin. Joining us now is Ayan, and we're going to be talking about Nizma, which is her brand. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Good, thanks for having me.
Why did you start your own skincare line?
Well, a little bit about me. I always struggled with acne, hormonal, acne all my life. It started at 6th grade and never stopped until today.
Okay.
So I was like, man, I tried everything to, get rid of my acne. Nothing worked. So I was like, how come everything that I have tried all these years have not worked? So I started to do a little bit of research and see what's best for skincare and acnes. And I found out that going natural is the key to clear skin.
Were you feeling bullied in 6th grade? 6th grade is a hard age.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. I always used to try to cover my pimples with like makeup, foundation, but it only made it worse.
Because you're blocking all the pores.
Yes,
Right?
yes.
Some kids get acne in very strange places, like they get it on their back, they get
Yes.
it like even behind their knees. I guess
Yes.
just strange places, right?
Yes.
Were you also finding it in different parts of your body, not just
Yeah,
your
my
face?
back, my chest.
Okay.
Yes.
And you're like, this is not so great.
Yeah, and I was miserable, honestly.
Okay.
So, yeah.
At what point did the journey from 6th grade take you before you were able to get the knowledge that you needed to start an entire skincare brand?
It took me a long time until I
Okay.
was in my mid-20s
Okay.
to kind of steady my skin, try to figure out what works for me only. So, yeah.
What is it about the lack of harsh ingredients that makes this brand better than others?
So all my products are made with fruits and they're all vegan. So you won't find any harsh chemicals in my products. So they're very suitable for sensitive skin, dry skin combination. So yeah.
You used a lot of chemists on your team too.
Yes,
right?
I did.
That was important, right?
Yes,
that was
of
a good
course.
step. Is
Yeah,
hiring
'cause-
the right people around you to kind of figure it out.
Yeah, because I'm not an expert, so I had the help of chemists and creating amazing formulation for all skin types. So,
Now, are there different steps? Do you have to do each of these steps as one
Yeah.
complete system?
yeah, so we have
Okay.
a regimen kit. So we can start with face moisturizers. I mean, if your skin is already clean and you have a good face wash, our skin moisturizer is really good.
Okay, and a little bit goes a long way.
Yeah, a little bit. And then if you need a little bit of if you want to get rid of the dark spots and high pigmentation, we also have CC serums.
Lovely. I
Yeah.
do have some, actually. I've
Yeah.
noticed, because I'm going to be I'm just going to say,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
my age-end's in a 0 this year, okay? So I've noticed over the last maybe 6 months, so many skin changes for me, you know,
Yes.
or the skin, the tender skin under your eyes,
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
very tender, so we have to get a really good moisturizer.
under there,
Yes.
right? Somebody
A good
also
eye
told me
cream.
not to wipe this way, but to wipe, you're supposed to tap
Very-
towards your nose. Do you think that is helpful somehow? I don't know. I'm willing to listen to any tricks or tips that you might have for us.
Yeah, just
Okay.
moisturize it. Use a good eye cream every night, and just be very careful because you don't want to scratch the bottom of your.
So have you
Yeah.
ever gone back to any reunions where you see those kids that weren't so nice to you? And
No,
are they
I
impressed
never-
with your skin now? Because that's what I would be doing. I'd be like, well, look at my skin now.
No, I haven't seen any of them, and I'm okay with that.
You're okay with
Yeah.
that. No
Yeah.
need for bullies in your life.
Yeah, it's
And
fine.
it also smells good. You have it's just fresh. It's not like
Yeah, it smells
real-
really good. It
Right.
smells like like fresh fruits. Yeah.
And is it the pectin? Is it what is it about fruit that helps?
You just want to use a natural, natural skin, natural things are really very good for your skin and your overall health. So.
And where can
yeah.
people pick up your products?
Oh, we have it online at nizmaskincare.com.
Okay.
So you can find us there.
Lovely. And do you
Yeah.
have little stories about you and about your brand and things
Yeah,
like that
you
where
can
people
find
can
us-
get tips?
Yeah, please check us out at Nizma Skincare.
Lovely. Thank you for
On
joining
Instagram.
us.
Thank
it was
you so
really very nice to meet you.
Thank you so much for having me.
And please stay for lunch because I think lunch is coming here soon.
Yeah, I'll be waiting.
There you go.
Thank you so
Both
much.
our tummies were like, "Rrr, did you hear my tummy growl?" I hope not. Anyway, but stay tuned for more. We've been living it up right here with Ayan, and I'm Donna Drake. And please, we hope that wherever you are, that you're getting the right skincare and that nobody's bullying you. I know I had acne as a kid. I know a lot of kids suffering with that, a lot of teenagers. So this might be a good solution for you to have healthier skin. Be well. Joining us now is our wonderful correspondent, Sisi Hollywood. Hello, Sisi. How are you?
Hello, Donna. How are you? It's always so great to see you. Send your love.
I've been so happy since we met. Every time we talk on the phone or we see each other in person, Sisi, you have this vibrant light about you that just makes my whole heart feel warm inside. So it's always so nice to have you as my friend.
Yes, me too. I'm always so grateful because, I feel like we're doing something that is really meaningful to the world because we're shining the light to all those kind of people. And I think we all need some light right now in this world, right? So
We
that's why
absolutely
I feel so
do.
grateful. Yes. And today, Donna, we have a very special guest join us. To me, he's a dear friend. We met 2022 on the Golden Globe. And then, he is the one always making me laugh, So today I actually brought Forever 25 Lifestyles is because, I know he will be on the show and I know he will make me laugh so loud that, I have to prevent my smile lines showing up. So, I took a little whole set with me, And to the world, he's a brilliant comedian. He is the one who went to the White House for the correspondent dinner, which is the first Chinese ever done that, Chinese comedian ever done that. And he's bold enough to roast the vice president and the president. And he is the one is so rich, not a rich, just rich in money. I can see from his big mansion house, he's pretty rich, but he's more rich inside. That his emotion, his ability to connect with the people through his humor. And also he's so rich in his caring about the world. And if that's not special enough, he is actually, his name, Chinese name is Huang Xi. And I know his, comedy history probably started when he was a baby, since his parents named him Huang Xi, which is in Chinese, it means two superfruits. It's Huanggua de Huang and Xigua de Xi means like cucumber added with watermelon. So how wonderful a name. I think anyone named less two superfruits would be super in something.
So is it cucumber watermelon? That's what his name translates to?
That's his name translated. Literally means, cucumber watermelon.
Okay, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen.
I think his parents
Sisi.
has a sense of humor.
I know, he has got a wonderful sense of humor. He's better known, though, as not cucumber watermelon. That's his new rap name. But who do we have with us, Sisi?
The brilliant comedian Joe Wong today. Welcome.
Yay, Joe Wong. Hello.
Yay.
Hi, Joe.
Oh, hi. Thank you so much for having me here. Nice meeting you, Donna. And
Nice
good
to
to
meet
connect
you.
with you again, Sisi.
Nice to meet you, Joe Wong. It's so nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Joe, you
Yes.
weren't always a comedian, though. Sisi was telling me a little bit about your background. What was that?
Mm-hmm.
What did you do before comedy?
Yeah, I was a biochemist. I started with studying the neurobiology among Drosophila, which is fruit flies. And then I moved on to some cancer research. I didn't cure cancer, but I figure, laughter is the best medicine. So I went into comedy, I guess.
Laughter is really great medicine. So Sisi, tell us about what your thoughts were about that. Were you impressed that Joe was once a scientist and then he brought that to comedy?
Well, absolutely. And actually, I think, what I can sense that Joe's humor is like he's actually crossed the Eastern and Western, which is very unique because, Donna, we know the culture has a huge barrier. But Joe are able to cross both cultures, really unique. And Joe, you are actually currently on a tour. It's called Out of Space, which is in Chinese, we call it 水土不服, right? How's that going?
Yeah.
And any special moment you want to share with us?
Yeah. I grew up in China, and now I'm a comedian in the US. I do bilingual comedy tours. And this year I have some good news because President Trump said he was going to put a tariff on everything coming from China, which means I'm going to get a raise.
Because, Donna, actually,
I'm
Joe,
China's largest import.
it's so funny. You know what?
Yeah,
I always, knew like people call Joe like the funniest export from China. So we're definitely going to give you a good raise, Joe.
Yes, that's what I'm looking forward to. Yeah, I traveled in many different cities in America. It's been a lot of fun doing a bilingual stand-up.
Joe, what was it about your comedy that helped you bring, kind of break through the cultural barriers? That's one of the reasons that Sisi and I joined forces together is because we want to bring a unified feeling to the world. And you've been doing that so well. What was that like, or how did you go about making that happen for yourself?
Yeah, it's a gradual process, you kind of, especially through stand-up comedy, by learning what makes people laugh, you kind of understand the cultural subcontext. And that is the most important thing when we talk about, communicating between two different cultures. For example, like when I first came to America, I never knew how serious a threat is when somebody says to me, "I'm going to kick your ass." I was like, wow, that's the most cushioned part of my body. This guy's being mean and considerate at the same time. Just very confusing to me. But I gradually kind of understand. Yeah.
What were some of the other?
Funny.
Go ahead, Sisi.
No, sorry. It's just like always making me laugh. He's always have the ability to make me laugh. It's so funny. Yeah. Yeah, but Joe, I know your tour is called Out of Space, right? So it's like
Yeah.
水土不服. It can be two things. One is like all my foreign friends, when they first time come to China, anything like eat in China, they go through their butt very fast, because I think the immune system are not built that way, And another way is also can mean the cultural shock, right? So Joe, since like I know you have been to USA like over 30 years. What do you think?
Almost. Exactly 30 years now.
Yeah. So like, do you feel like when you go back to China, or like, do you feel like somehow you feel out of, place when you're in USA or China, or you feel you belongs to both countries? How do you feel about it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, on the one hand, I always say, the tough part is, the thing is, if you hate either country, it's actually easier, But then the problem is I really love both countries. And to me, China is like my mom. America is like my wife. And now the two don't get along. Especially when my wife sends my mom balloons and stuff, there's just a lot of pressure. But,
I think I would choose my wife.
But for most part, people in general are pretty nice, but occasionally people will say nasty things. Of course, in America, we kind of already know what people say to foreigners or minorities. But when I go to China, if I say something that people don't like, some people actually say to me, "Hey, go back to America."
Oh, wow.
So what? Oh, well, I got some white privilege in China, I guess. Yeah.
Interesting.
But,
so Joe, you're finding sometimes you're there and you're here, but like sometimes depending on how the joke lands, whether some people think it's funny and some people don't think it's funny. But are you yourself happy? Do you feel happy in your own heart?
Yeah, well, I think nobody is 100% happy. If you have some intelligence, it's very hard to be totally happy. You know? But the thing is, I just feel that I am happier now than I was doing science. That's enough for me, I think.
Right. Although, I don't know, Joe, I think Sisi and I bet like 99% of the time she and I live in just a space of pure joy. You know, I think happiness is like a choice.
I don't know how to do it.
You don't know how to do it? Well, you know what you're doing though so well is that you're making people happy. You know what I'm saying? Like when you...
Really important.
Yeah,
People need
I
you.
know CC has this product called Forever 21. I was wondering if you have a product called Going Back to 25 or something. Because it's Forever 25. I want to go back to 25. Yeah.
I think we need to invent a time
It's
machine.
amazing. Yeah. But I know that Joe, actually like, I think, you wasn't, a really good student to start with, right? I knew like your father was actually have a plan B for you, right? Like he was, I watched that your father said he was actually willing to make you a factory worker or something, like if you didn't made it to university, right? But then you somehow, it's kind of like you have magic, switch, and you can just switch on and off, and then suddenly you can from the bottom of your grade and you take a rocket on the top, and then that's how you get to the university, and then that's how what make you decided to come to USA then?
Oh, it was at the time I really wanted to become a professor. My dream is just to lie by the pool and writing thesis and papers. So that was my dream. That's why I came to America. I got a PhD in biochemistry from Rice University. But after that, I just feel that I need to make some money. The academic road is pretty long, and I didn't have very good luck for the last 3 years of research. So I figured I just want to go into the industry. And once I got into the industry, I worked pretty hard. I got the only patent in my company, but then I was never promoted. So I was like, okay, I probably should try something else as a hobby. And that's how I stumbled upon comedy. I tried a couple of times. I still remember my first show in Boston. It was in a sports bar. There's like sports on TV. There's a rolling alley. There's pool tables, really noisy. And they put a little stage at the corner. I did 5 minutes of stand-up. And afterwards, this guy said to me, "Hey, I think you're probably funny, but I don't understand what you're saying." That was my first show. But I still feel that if you do something, you fail, and a couple of days later, you still want to do it, that might be your calling. That's how I felt about stand-up comedy. Even if I was constantly failing, but after a while, I still want to do it. I figure that's probably something I should do.
Thank you so much. Sisi, thank you for bringing your wonderful friend Joe here. Joe, we thank you so completely. I can't wait to go see you live. And what you just shared was so impactful. Like sometimes we might have a little doubt in ourselves, but if we're doing something that is our calling, right? Somehow it just takes us through. So happiness to you and your journey. And we're going to go to your website for more information. Sisi, thank you so sincerely for bringing this delightful friend of yours, Joe. So it's nice to meet you both. As we all live in one, right? As we're all living together on this big, beautiful marble in the sky, right? So planet Earth. So thank you so much. Be well.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Really appreciate
Thank you so much,
Okay,
Joe.
bye.
Thank you for your time. Thank you, Donna. Love you
Bye-bye.
guys.
Okay, nice meeting you, Donna.
Love you too.
We'll see you in
Bye-bye.
New York.
Bye, everybody.
Okay, bye.
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 So that was my dear friend Sisi Hollywood. She's so lovely. And Joe Wong, or Cucumber Watermelon. I don't know. Joe Wong. Be well, guys. Bye-bye. Joining us now is David Becker. Welcome to the show, David.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Good.
And
Where are you
yourself?
calling in from today?
We're in Springfield, Illinois. That's where Lori and I have our house.
Really? I grew up in St. Louis, Missouri. I didn't know that you were a Midwesterner.
Well, I was born in Cincinnati, and I lived in Michigan, and then California, then Illinois for a year, and then California I settled for many years. Then I moved to Europe, and Lori and I reconnected after school, and we got married, and we bought a house out here a couple of years ago. So,
And what is Springfield known for?
for Lincoln, and it's the capital of Illinois, and also it's the Corn Belt.
There you go. Absolutely. We used to enjoy it a lot growing up and things like that, or going to cheerleading competition. And I like Springfield, Illinois. When I came home from visiting my son Matthew at the University of Michigan, I decided to go south, down near where Dave Chappelle lives, and like Yellow Springs. And then I went to like a little brewery called the Devil Wind. And I like that. I like that heartland whole area of just, being in the middle, like you said, of nowhere, just cornfield after cornfield after cornfield, and just kind of rambling
It's the
to like
old
little
Route
town.
66.
Yeah, exactly.
Route
Route 66. Absolutely. So you've been gigging and playing for quite a long time. You've been nominated for some major awards. You've played with a lot of cool people. But you have Planets, and Planets is your baby.
Yes.
So let's talk about it.
Planets. Yeah, Planets is a project that I got involved in with Space Channel a few years ago. They asked me, first they connected with me and started using a lot of my pre-recorded material for some videos. And then I was asked in 2021 if I could perform in front of an audience and improvise for each planet. And I said, sure. So we set it up in Brownsville, Texas in a theater, but unfortunately because of COVID, we couldn't have an audience. But they filmed that and made the show Planets, where I actually improvised 9 pieces for each planet. We include Pluto, we consider it to be a dwarf planet, and did that. And the show was quite successful. And then we decided to take it on the road. So for the past year and a half, I've been doing lots of concerts all over the world. It's a 90-minute show where there's visuals behind me, and I do all the planets plus some extra cool stuff.
So when you composed for Pluto, right, did you make it sound tiny and small? Like, did you try to mix the personality of the planet with what you were putting together?
I did. It's actually, there's a recording now that I did in immersive sound, which is the album Gravitationally Bound, which was done last year with my good friend Ken Kelly, who we talked about earlier, from Fleetwood Mac fame. And when I did Pluto originally just as an improvised piece, just this little thing came to me that was very quiet and very surreal. And that's what ultimately became Pluto. So when I perform that at the concert, that's what people will hear.
So David, do you own a telescope?
I do not, but when I was in the studio recording Gravitationally Bound, Ken's partner, Nittany Paris, her husband is an astrophysicist, and it was during the eclipse. So she had her high-tech telescope out and had a chance to see it that way. But it does fascinate me, and one of the concerts I did for Planets was at the UIS Performing Arts Center, and they do have a planetarium. So after the show, we all went up. So it does interest me a lot. I should buy a telescope, and I probably at some point will.
I think so. I think the holidays will be coming up, or your birthday will be coming up, and I think you'd really enjoy it. The other night I was looking with my naked eye at the sky because all the planets were like aligned. And I was like, well, this is a cool moment. And I tried to like somehow feel the energy of alignment. I don't know if I did if it changed me at all. But I've always been a person that's interested in space. And I had shared with you, Matthew goes to University of Michigan, he's studying aerospace. He told me physics is embedded in his heart, but he also is a musician. And there's a lot of ties between scientists and mathematicians and music.
Exactly. That's what the whole point of Planets is. I talk between each piece of music and talk about the relationship of music and the solar system and how things work. And it's pretty incredible when you think about that. Music is this thing that just kind of came about. And I always say that whoever invented the universe thought we needed a soundtrack, and that's where music came from. So.
Well, you've done a beautiful job and continued success. And you play this live, right? Do you have any important gigs that are coming up for you that you want us to celebrate?
Yes, I do. In New York, I'll be playing on the 18th, March 18th at Drome. That's in the East Village. And it's an early show. It's a 6:30 show. So make sure you get there on time because it's a 90-minute show without a break. And I'm really excited to play New York. I have not played there or done this yet. I played with other variations of musical settings, but not with Planets. So this is the debut for New York.
And do you name your instruments? Do your instruments have names? Or do you ever like sleep with your guitar or anything?
No, I don't have a name for them, but my guitar, my David Becker signature model that was made for me by Heritage is called the Million Miler because we've done about close to 2 million miles on the road now. So that's the only name it has. But for me, it's a workhorse.
There you go. It's your baby. It's steady and Eddie for you. But continued success. You play so beautifully. You really do. You emote. You really emote the music. I was so excited when I was going to be able to speak with you and have you here on the show. But continued success. You're so talented, and I'm really excited. Yeah, I'm really, really excited to know you. Happy journeys to you, to your whole family, and looking forward to the journey with you. I really am. Thanks so much.
Thank you. You take care.
Okay.
Thanks.
You too. Be well. Bye-bye. Joining us now is Adam Pascal. Adam, hi.
Hi, Donna. Hi. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Good. Are you off to rehearsals tonight? Where are you on your way to?
I'm actually off to work.
Excellent.
So I'm doing Drag the Musical, which is off Broadway at the New World Stages. And we have a 7:00 show tonight. So I have to leave for work and drive in from Connecticut.
You're lucky because you grew up here in Long Island. A lot of dreams, I know that you were in Rent, dreams of making it big in New York or in California come from everywhere around the world. At what point did you realize that you lived like in a neighboring area, that your dreams weren't too far away from your touch?
Well, what I ultimately ended up doing in my life and in my career wasn't my dream growing up. I grew up playing in rock bands. And so, of course, my proximity to New York City and having a parent that lived in the city my whole life. So, I was always keenly aware of what New York meant and the possibilities that were available being so close to New York. So we used to play the clubs, for years in New York City. All the classic rock clubs, they were all horrible, but we played all the classic rock clubs in New York City.
Like CBGBs, right? Like CBGBs.
Exactly.
Right.
Yes. A big dump.
Adam, was your hair long? Were you like that type of a rocker?
Oh God. Yes, my hair was very long. I had my Bon Jovi hair, and that was what I aspired to be. And getting cast in Rent in 1995 took my life in a complete left turn. But I haven't looked back.
Do people still sometimes come up to you and say, "Oh, Roger," and they want like your autograph from that role? Like, were you expecting it to be such a big deal? Yeah, but were you expecting it to have?
Of course not.
Yeah.
You can never expect something like that. You can never, I've been in this business now many years, and you could never predict any kind of success, much less that type of success, so no, I had no idea. And it's yes, on occasion people will recognize me, but if I'm in the sort of 10-block radius of Broadway, that it tends to happen more in that neighborhood. But for the most part, people don't really know. And that's just fine.
Right. Well, and you're also a family guy. You're a dad, right? Like you have a normal life as well, right? Are they also interested in the arts? Anyone else in your family interested in the arts?
Well, I have two sons. They're 21 and 23. My 23-year-old is a music producer and sound engineer, and my 21-year-old is a model and an actor. I had wished for 2 doctors or 2 lawyers, but neither of that happened. So I support them in whatever they're doing.
And what about your experience in Aida? What was that like for you too?
Well, look, there's not a person on the planet, I think, that's not a huge fan of Elton John. So the opportunity to perform in an original music written by Elton was just, a dream come true in and of itself. And to originate this role on Broadway with his music was just, it was incredibly special. And I felt so, and still do, I feel so grateful because, you know, I don't want to say I have as many people that come up to me as Rent, but so many people loved that show and it meant so much to them. And so I'm really proud of that show.
I remember my very first time I got a chance to see Elton John. He was playing at the July 4th underneath the arch, because I grew up in St. Louis. And he did the Rocket Man, and he had the whole thing, and the glasses and the boots, and the, you know, and there's something so warm and endearing about him. Now, obviously, you've met him. I haven't yet, but hopefully someday. But
I think he's more warm and, I think he's more warm and endearing from a distance. I don't think you would have that same impression of him if you met him.
Okay, I'll just keep my dream alive then.
Yes, exactly. Don't meet your heroes.
Well, that's what they say. Drag. What are you loving about tonight? What are you looking forward to bring into the audience tonight?
You know, I just love how fun this show is. I love all the people that I work with. You know, all the actors and singers there are just, they're so incredible, and I love the story that we tell every night. You know, and it's an important story. It's a fun story. It's a heartfelt story, and I love the music. You know, and it's just, you know, I haven't done off-Broadway in 30 years. The only off-Broadway I've ever done was Rent, which was the first show I've ever done. And so it's so nice to be back in this type of environment. It's just so welcoming and comfortable. And so I look forward to going to work every night, even though I have a 90-minute drive both ways.
Well, there you go. It was a pleasure. Thank you so
likewise.
much for joining us. And did I get you out on time? You ready to go?
Yes, you did. Absolutely.
You're going to make
Perfect.
curtain? You're going to make curtain.
I'm going to make it.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Adam.
Thank you,
Happy
Donna.
journeys.
Absolutely.
Bye, my friend. Bye-bye.
This is Donna Drake. Happy journeys.
Take my hand, come with me, and we'll find better ways to be something much more. Live it up, live it up, live it up now. Live it up now.
Thanks for watching Live It Up. You can visit us at liveituptvshow.com.